Alrighty, it looks like we are live. Let me just check here on my channel. See, make sure that the audio is okay. Oops. Let's see here. I usually check on my phone because, there we go. Yeah, people are usually watching on their phone anyway, so I just want to make sure that it does sound right on a smaller device, not just like when wearing headphones. It is 6:07 p.m. on Friday. It is March 6th, 2026. It seems like the sun is setting later. As you can see, it's still daylight over here. Can I move this so you guys can see out my window? Look at that. There's my window. There's Medellin. And it's still daylight. Usually at 6 p.m. when I go live, the sun has gone down. So looks like the sun is setting a little later here in Medellin nowadays, which is nice. I like it. I like when the sun sets later. I think I would do well if I lived like in Alaska or wherever they have like, sometimes the sun never goes down. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Hope you had a great week. And yeah, today's live is going to be fun. I think last week we had a really fun one where it was an interactive live. So today is going to be kind of like an interactive live. You can participate if you want. It's not going to be like a quiz like we did last week, but it will be. It'll be fun. What's up, Ronald? How you doing? Lambrid says you're watching from your phone. Nice. Edward, what's up, Edward Cruz? Ches says, by the way, I will be joining. I'll be joining you in Going Dark, but that's only because I hit the beach and forgot my sunblock. What's up, guys? Yeah, so how was your week so far? For me, it's been very busy. Just as usual, have a very set routine. Something that I'll touch on today, I think, because obviously it's all I know, because that's what I do all week. But things have been great so far, and I've been hitting the gym pretty much every day. I've been eating healthy. I've been going to bed like pretty early lately, like 9:30. Usually I usually go to bed like at 10:30 or 11, but recently I've been going to bed like around 9:30, 10, and it's really changed my life up. For those of you just joining, I'm live here from Medellin. As you can see, the sun is setting a little later in Medellin. There's my World Cup, by the way. Hopefully Colombia wins the World Cup this year. I've got a lens here for a cell phone. This is a 2 terabyte hard drive that I use. These are my headphone case. This is my very important PS5 controller case. But yeah, it was a beautiful day today. It did not rain today, which surprised me. It rained yesterday, and it'll probably rain tomorrow, but today was a great day. It was a nice day. It was hot. It was nice and sunny. It was pretty hot out here. But yeah, it's nice. 916 says, Buenas de Provenza. DJ Banny says, hello, Andrew, and all. Greetings from Barranquilla. Ronald says, my week's been busy getting stuff together to come to Medellin in a few weeks. Nice. Jonesy says, nice and hot here in Santa Fe de Antioquia. You don't usually fall asleep till 2 a.m. Yeah, see, I was getting like tired during the day because I've got so much more stuff to do now during the day, especially with a kid now, that I was feeling tired during the day. And I'm like, okay, the only thing I control is myself. So I started to control my day, and I've got a really good routine going right now, and that keeps me disciplined, I guess, and keeps me consistent with what I do. And going to bed early has definitely helped. And I've had to rearrange how I task myself on things, but it's been working out really well. This week was great. So yeah, I hiked Tres Cruces today, says Mota. It was your first. Oh, it's your first week here. Nice, awesome. Tres Cruces is a great little hike, right? I mean, it's more challenging than they make it seem, like on Instagram and stuff, because you know, you'll see a lot of like influencers do like, oh, I'm hiking Tres Cruces, and it's like, it looks fun, but it's actually pretty challenging. Reggie, what's up, Reggie? Reggie says, you're the man, brother. Appreciate all you do. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for being here. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't subscribed, or if you're watching the replay of this live, make sure that you are subscribed, because I go live every day. Not every day, every week. I go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Sometimes the time may change because of things that are happening in my life, but today it is on time. Greetings from New Jersey, says Sunny. What's up, Sunny? Hope you're having a great day. Hope New Jersey is a little warmer than it was before. It seems like you guys had a pretty harsh winter over there on the pretty much all over California, all over the U.S. But yeah. So this live today, we're going to be talking about, it's going to be more introspective, obviously combining with my life here in Medellin, Colombia. Most people think that life gives you answers, but I think life asks you more questions than gives you answers, right? I think that, you know, as you experience life, whether it's living in Colombia or living in another country or wherever you're at, you're only going to have more questions as you get older and more things to answer. I think you'll have more answers in life, but you'll never have the answer, right? I certainly feel that way. I feel like, you know, I was asked a lot when I came here, obviously being deported from the United States to Colombia. Many questions were asked of me then, and many challenges came about, and many things that I had to answer. And I think I've answered them as correctly as I could. But now, as I'm a 46-year-old living in Medellin, Colombia, and have my life pretty well built, I have more questions to answer. You know, now that I have a kid, I have even more questions because of that. So today, that's what today's going to be about. And I'm going to kind of set it up here. So tonight, I'm going to go through some of the questions Medellin has forced me to face. Not just about the city, but about people, money, discipline, purpose, peace, family, identity, and environment. And I want you guys to answer these questions yourself as well. You can answer them in the chat. Some of them are going to be pretty personal questions. And I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. The number one reason, I'm doing this for myself. I'm going to be kind of vulnerable today and answer some pretty deep questions about my life and what I want out of life and what my life is like in Medellin. You know, as a 46-year-old guy that's kind of a quasi-expat. I'm not an expat, but I definitely identify with Americans and U.S. culture, maybe even Canadian culture, because we're kind of very similar. And maybe other countries can relate as well to me. But I relate to you guys as well because I lived in the United States for 24 years. I didn't want to come to Colombia. I was shipped over here when I got deported. So my situation was a little different, but now after 16 years of being here and having built my life, having to not worry about money anymore very much, having a family now here, having my extended family down here, my nucleus down here as well. My parents have retired here. My brother lives here. My sister's here part-time of the year. That's my nucleus. My grandma was here. She just passed away, R.I.P., but she had a great life, and she came down here to basically live it out because the United States is way too expensive for someone that's elderly like that. So it was a burden on the family over there. So here she was able to go in peace and in comfort. So a lot of things have come about this year so far, and it's only March. It's only March 6th, and a lot of things have come about, including this phase in my life where I've been a student of philosophy for my whole life. Well, not my whole life. Well, I guess since I was a teenager until now. I love reading about philosophy, learning about different philosophies. The one that I subscribe to the most, or the one that I study the most, is Stoic philosophy. I love, I feel like it resonates a lot with me and my personality. It's like I felt like I was a Stoic before I even knew what Stoicism was. But it's something that, I think it transcends just, the name. I don't like to label myself a Stoic or label anybody a Stoic. I think I'm a student of that philosophy, but I'm also a student of others. So I've been pretty introspective this year, and my goal this year is to really align my purpose in life and my mission in life with not only the YouTube channel, but with everything that I do in life, whether it's raising my kid, the charity that I have here called Help Colombia with the kids in Moravia, to my work, which is the Medellin Living real estate company here, where we sell real estate to foreigners and Colombians living abroad, whether it's the relocation service that we have called the Medellin Masterclass, and that community, which has grown. We have like 55 members now. It's insane. It's been about a year and a half and we have 55 members. It's actually pretty, it didn't surprise me, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, wow, we can have like hundreds of members in just a couple of years, where we can have this really nice community of entrepreneurs, retirees, people that are like-minded, people that I can have this type of conversation with. That's literally what I want to attract. So this is why I'm doing these type of lives, these type of videos where I'm more asking myself questions and answering them together with you. So if you want to follow along and answer these questions, you can. I'll be answering them and putting my answers on the screen. And then at the end, we're going to have a little fun and put them into ChatGPT. I have a prompt that I've put together. By the way, I worked on this for like 4 hours today, guys. So I didn't just like whip it up and say, okay, let's do this fun game. I actually worked together with AI. I use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. So for different tasks, each one handles the tasks differently. But for the prompt, I'm going to use ChatGPT, and then I'll put my answers in there and see what it says. So what's the goal? The goal is to have questions that we can answer that are pretty deep about our life, what we're looking for in life, and then AI is going to help us understand whether Medellin is conducive for what we want in life. Is the city something that is going to help you achieve those dreams, or at least make you live a happier life, or maybe more fulfilling life, or maybe a more challenging life, depending on what it is that you're looking for in life, or maybe not. It might suggest another city. Imagine if I haven't done this, by the way. I've answered all the questions, so I'll put my answers there that I've already answered, but I haven't gone through with the exercise of putting the prompt in ChatGPT along with all my answers, and to see what it actually says about whether Medellin is the city for me. What if it says like, bro, you're in the wrong city. You should be in Thailand. Or I want it to be that rigorous though, and that's the prompt. I want it to be very hard hitting and very honest, brutally honest with me, because that's how I am with people, and I am with myself as well. I don't like to just BS around. Be like, bro, tell me it straight. If I don't belong in this city, let me know. Andrew, sorry I slapped you on the shoulder last week. Oh, what's up, brother? You slapped me on the shoulder? On 70, you were walking down the street filming yourself. I was a little starstruck. I don't remember. Oh, maybe I do. I had 2 people come up behind me that day. I think you were one of them. Anything between 50 to 75K apartment in Medellin. We only sell apartments that are over $150,000. We just sold one right now that is $135,000, but that was because it was to a friend that's an investor. But for most people, we only work with people that have $150,000 or more budget for 2 reasons. One, because commission here is only 3%. So 3% of 50,000 or 75,000 is basically nothing. You're basically working for free. And even though I don't sell properties anymore and I don't make that entire commission myself, I have a team to feed. So in order for it to make sense, a business sense, we have to sell properties that are over 150,000 or more. Furthermore, the second reason is because Most people that come down here to buy a property, they want to get the investor visa. And in order to do so, you need to buy a property that's about $165,000 or so right now to meet the minimum requirement. So we cap it at 150 for business reasons, and of course guide someone into buying something that can qualify for the investor visa going forward for the next 4 or 5 years when they renew the visa, etc. So I hope that answers your question. But I guess that doesn't answer your question. Who asked that about the $75,000? Yeah, Count Iowa. Yes, there are many apartments for $50,000, $75,000. Just go to Metro Cuadrado and put in your price range, and you'll find a ton of them. There's a lot of there's more $50,000 to $75,000 apartments than there are $300,000, $500,000 apartments, definitely in the city, because the city is huge, but it's very cheap, and there are many neighborhoods that are income level 3s and below, and where you'll find a $50,000 apartment, $75,000 apartment. So yes, there are many. Greetings from New Jersey. I already read that. Chaz says, do they have paparazzi laws in Colombia? I don't know. Okay, so this so for me, Medellin didn't really. I don't want to say that Medellin was the catalyst for my life being happy, right? Like, when I got here, I was definitely relieved for not being illegal anymore. Yeah, I was or in custody in federal prisons. So I was definitely happier when I got here. But I was broke. I didn't have anything. I didn't have family in Medellin at all. I had zero. So I was starting from zero. Didn't know anybody. I only knew the person that I came with here, which was a friend of mine from the United States. I quickly started to make friends because the first thing I did was go volunteer at an orphanage. We taught the kids how to play baseball, taught them English, and I made friends with all of the other volunteers, and I made friends with 2 volunteers that I'm still friends with to this day after 16 years. So right away I was able to make a community of like-minded individuals because of volunteering. So that was very strong for me. But it wasn't the city. I mean, if I would have landed in Turkey, or if I would have landed in Malta, or wherever I would have been from in another universe, in a parallel universe, but from another country, I would have probably done the same thing, built a small community. My personality would have came out, and I probably would have been successful regardless of the city. At least I like to think so. So I don't think Medellin really changed me. I think it exposed like my character, really. And it was like the kick in the ass that I needed at 28 years old, because in the United States at 28 years old, I didn't go to university. I was working on commission, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur, had started a bunch of businesses in California that didn't go anywhere, that failed. At that point, before I got deported, I was working for an attorney based on commission, doing sales for he did bankruptcy law, foreclosure law, estate planning, real estate law. So I would get leads, and I was doing the marketing part. That's where I started to learn digital marketing, by the way, through him and the other people that I worked with there. And I was just working on commission. So I was making enough to live I was living in Huntington Beach, California, one of the most expensive places to live. But I just had like a tiny studio. It was like just a room, basically. A tiny studio. I had a truck that I had paid off. It was a used truck. It was like a Ford Ranger. It wasn't the extended cab either. It was the single cab that I had, and I was just existing, really. I didn't really have a purpose. My purpose in that moment, I guess at that time, at 28 years old, was to build something, to become an entrepreneur of some sort, but I didn't know what. And I didn't have education or a foundation to go on. So when I got to Colombia after being deported, was like that kick in the ass. It's like, all right, you didn't do shit for 28 years. Now is the time for you to do something. And so I think that was more of a catalyst than the actual city I was in. Granted that the city did help, obviously, by way of meeting people out here it became kind of a destination for other expats or people that had money to want to live here. So I learned from some of them as well, other entrepreneurs. So it did help in that sense. But I think I could have done it anywhere else, but I don't know. Why do Colombians leave Medellin? It's such a nice city. Have you ever heard the phrase, the grass is greener on the other side? I think it applies to a lot of people. I would say the same thing about the Americans that come here. I'm like, why do you leave the United States? It's the greatest country in the world to live. You've got so much opportunity. You can make dollars, yet you decide to live in the underdeveloped country that has so much chaos. For me, when I first got here, I hated it, man. I hated living in Colombia because, again, I didn't want to leave the United States. I went from living in Huntington Beach, California, Southern California, beautiful beaches. I would surf in the morning, go work, sometimes surf in the evening till sunset, see the dolphins go by, ride my bike everywhere on Main Street, go to the bars. I was part of a kickball league. We would play flip cup. I mean, doing all the stuff that young adults do and having so much fun. And then I was like, boom, in Medellin, where you can't even cross the street at a crosswalk because someone might run you over. There's no order. It felt like the Wild West to me. So I don't know why anybody would want to willingly come here from the United States. Now, as a 46-year-old with my life together and money, I understand it. I'm like, okay, the grass could be greener here for a lot of people that live down there, especially if you're like me, 46. I'm not married. I do have a kid, but I want more of a social life. I want to not deal with winters. I want to have my dollar go a longer way. I'm going to start aging soon. Within the next 20, 30 years, I'm going to be aging. So I want to age gracefully. I want healthcare to be affordable. Those are things that I never thought about when I was 28 years old. So when I got here, I never thought of that. And I was like, man, why are these guys coming down here? Why wouldn't you stay in the United States, make as much money as you can and work for dollars, where I was working as a teacher in Colombia for $4 an hour. That sucked, like, at that time, right? Like, I guess, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's an answer, right? Have you considered doing a video on condos that are in the Strato 3 and 4? No, because, again, that's not my target audience. That's not my buyer persona. That's not the type of client that I want to attract. There are many. There are so many out here. All you got to do is come and go look for them. I'd rather attract the people that have the money for the larger apartments because again, I'm running a business. I have a charity called Help Colombia in an Estrato 1, but we make no money on that. We help people there. My business is not a charity. It's to support me and my family and my team's livelihood. So if we were to sell lower income properties, we would just go broke, basically. Or we just have to sell so much volume that we would be making a living, but then that comes with bigger problems like running a bigger company that's dealing with volume. I'd rather sell small amount of properties that are higher valued to make larger commissions for the team, as opposed to having to do a full onslaught and have an army of people working, onslaught of marketing, and then an army of people to sell these lower income properties out here. And there are companies that do that here already. So yeah, you could definitely find that. What keeps you humble in spite of all the success you've had in life? Number one is the fact that I've been a student of philosophy for my whole life. And I love the Stoic movement and the Stoic philosophy. And part of that philosophy, one of the pillars is to remind yourself every day of your own mortality, meaning that, and that keeps you humble in regards to putting things into perspective. It's like, no matter how much you have or what you do in life, you will die. So what does it matter? And it doesn't mean like, oh, you don't give a shit about stuff. It means to put your effort and your energy towards the things that do actually matter for you, not the things that don't matter. So for example, for me, materialistic things, materialism doesn't matter. You guys don't know how much the auto, I've trained YouTube to just auto delete comments on my YouTube that are obviously negative or hate filled, but you don't know how many hate comments I get from people saying that, like, oh, you have all these companies, you must not be making money because you're walking every day. I mean, and it doesn't make me angry at all because I don't let other people affect my emotions. That's something that I've worked on for many years. And I understand that I can't control their thoughts, their actions, and what they say. What I can control is how I react to their thoughts, their actions, and what they say to me. So I just don't really care anymore. I'm like, yeah, what I do reflect on is, like, I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them that they view success by way of having material things, right? Like cars. I've shown my properties in my videos, but it's not like I do a video every day from a property that I have on Airbnb. All of the properties that I own are, I would say, 10 times nicer than the apartment that I live in. So that's what's kept me humble. This is like going too high. There we go. That's what's kept me humble in life, is knowing that I'm going to die eventually, and those things don't matter. What really matters are my mission, my values, and my mission, my values. I was going to say passion, but not passion. It's not. That's the wrong word. My mission, my values, and my purpose. Sorry, that slipped my mind. It's like one of the most important. But yeah, those are the things that really matter to me. And I think at the end of the day, when I die, the small amount of people that will actually care, will be the people that are affected immediately by it, which will be probably my son or any other kids I have at that point. The people that are still alive that are part of my nucleus will matter to them. And I would like to set a good example for them, because in the grand scheme of things, in 100 years, no one will even know who Andrew Macia was or care. And that goes for you too. So I rather put energy and focus on the things that actually will move the needle a little bit for the people that I love. And if I could help others, like through our charity, that's why I have the nonprofit organization. That's the effort, the attention I want to give, or that's where I want to focus my attention, I should say. So yeah, I think that's a great question. And being humble, I think, is very easy, especially if you come from humble beginnings. Like I have. So it's very easy to remember. Like, yeah, remember what life was like when you didn't have shit. Even though my apartment is not like a luxury apartment or a luxury penthouse, it doesn't mean that you're not successful. It doesn't mean that you need that either to be successful. Yeah, so... Okay, so we're going to go over some questions. Like I said, you can answer along with them. I'm going to answer them, and then we'll put them into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will tell us whether we are fit for living in Medellin. And if you want, oh, by the way, I'm going to put this in the shoot, I forgot to do that. I'm going to put this in the description. Tonight's live. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put the 12 questions in the description of the chat, and also I'm going to put the prompt that you can put into ChatGPT yourself after you've answered these. You could go back and do this, pause the video if you want. If you're watching the replay, go back and watch the replay, or just copy paste these questions onto like a notepad or whatever and answer them yourself, and then paste the prompt and your answers into ChatGPT. Excuse me. So you could see and really the purpose of this is not for ChatGPT to give me an answer as to whether I am in the right place in life right now, whether Medellin is conducive for the things that I want to do. I think really what will come of this is more questions that I want to answer. And I love digging into things and particularly myself, because I like to analyze. What did Socrates say? Socrates said something like, a life not analyzed is not a life worth living. And I truly believe that. I think that we should all analyze our life at some point. at some point. It's kind of like taking inventory, right? I think in Alcoholics Anonymous, that's one of the steps, is to take inventory before you can actually, reach sobriety, and not only reach sobriety, but maintain sobriety. I remember that because I was forced to go to AA. Well, not forced. When you're locked up, like in prison, you don't have anything to do. So when someone comes around and says, hey, you can leave your cell, anybody going to AA? I was like, yeah, me. Anybody going to Narcotics Anonymous? Yeah, me. Anybody going to freaking the Muslim mosque church or whatever they were doing? I was like, yeah, me. I just didn't want to be in the thing. So I went to like all the religious things that they had in there. I went to all of the AA. I went to anger management in there, and I learned a lot. I'm not saying it to be trivial or to make it sound trivial or ineffective or funny. It's because it actually does work. I mean, there's years of work that has gone through that, especially like AA, NA, and it definitely works for a lot of people. Okay, so let me put this in the chat here so that you guys, if you want to follow along, you can. Either way, I'm going to put the questions on the screen and my answers. There we go. Content. Let me put, there it is. Here are the questions. Hello? There we go. You can answer these on your own if you want later, or follow along. I think following along will be great. And you can answer the ones that you do want to answer. You can answer in the chat. Here's the ChatGPT prompt. Sorry, guys. I should have done this before, but I totally forgot. But I'm glad I remembered now. There it is. ChatGPT prompt. Boom. Save. It's a lot of words, but it's not over 5,000 words. So it is in the description. Now, you'd be able to see it if you do, what do you call it? Refresh the stream. Okay, so what's up, Tom? How you doing? Are you Muslim, Christian, or Jewish? I don't subscribe to any religion or political party either. I am a freelancer. I'm a freelancer for everything. John, what's up, John Becerra? How's it going, John? Hope you're having a great day. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right, Tom. Yeah, when the CO came around and said, "Are you Muslim, Christian, or Jewish?" I was like, "Yes, yes." I just want out. People who move to Colombia, are they passport bros or families? I think you find a little bit of everything. Iowa, Count Iowa asked, people who move to Colombia, are they passport bros or families? I think you find a little bit of everything now. Before it was only like passport bros. Before that, it was only like backpackers. Now you get a little bit of everything. I think there are more families now than I had ever seen before. A lot of couples coming down here. A lot of LGBTQ plus community members coming down here as well. To move here and live here permanently. For my Airbnbs that are monthly or longer term, we see mostly, since they're longer term, they're not like the passport bros, because usually passport bros are just here to waste their 2-week vacation money in just a weekend or whatever. The people that rent my properties are more like digital nomads, entrepreneurs, couples, families, retirees that are here for a couple months, scoping the area to see if it's a good fit for them to live in, etc. Some of them are people that watch the channel, actually. The person coming in March here in a couple days in one of the Airbnbs that I have is a longtime viewer of the channel, and he's relocating. He's renting it for 3 months to see if, what neighborhood is a good fit for him. So yeah, you see a little bit of everything now. Obviously, it depends on the neighborhood also. Let's see. Cornflake Gaming asks, is it common for Latin women to have close male friends? How should a guy try to date one? Look at this. It's not very accepted in American culture. Should this be a red flag? That's a tough question. I think women everywhere have male friends, but like close male friends, Yeah, I don't know about that. I've never had to deal with that situation. I've never dated a girl here who had like, oh, this is my best friend and he's a guy. I've been here for 16 years. I guess that's not the type of maybe that's why I don't date them, because if I were to run into that, it would be a red flag for me, in my opinion. I don't know what the psychology of that is. I don't know what other people's experience has been with that, but yeah, I think that's something that you got to figure out for yourself. I'm definitely not a dating coach, and we're going to figure this out right now, because one of those questions that we're going to go through right now has to do with this, or at least one of my answers has to do with what we just talked about. Do you see yourself ever having more kids, or are you satisfied with just one? I wouldn't mind having more kids in the future. I mean, I'm 46, so I don't know how much of the future, how much more in the future, I should say, but I wouldn't mind. I also wouldn't mind, like, if I fell in love with someone that already had kids, raising other people's kids and treating them as my own. I love kids, and I love to mentor, and I love to help and be there. So yeah, I'm not opposed to it. But one right now is good enough. John says, thank you for helping us with our Airbnb. We got celebrities in it now. I know, I heard John Becerra is a client of ours. We helped him buy his apartment here in Castropol. Bro, in all of my years here, I've been here for 16 years, that apartment has probably one of the best views I've ever seen in the city for its location. It's literally walking distance to Provenza. It's walking distance to Barrio Manila, which is my favorite neighborhood of all. Walking distance to Parque del Poblado, obviously very accessible. But the view is, excuse me for saying this, but it's retarded. It's like a crazy view. I've only seen one other apartment that is literally on the hill next to it that has a very similar view, but it's facing like south. Yeah, that's crazy. And now they have their first Airbnb guests who are some celebrities, like some reggaeton artists. When I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, how do we get tickets? Are they performing? Can we go see that? Greetings, Andrew says, Tom Salt, how are you doing? RWT says it's a red flag. Is World Lending still doing loans for properties in Colombia? Yes. Reach out to Brian Kirkpatrick, or Brian Hannon, his last name, Hannon, at World Lending Bank. Yeah, they're doing loans for foreigners, but they're more like hard money loans. They're not mortgage loans. They're more like hard money loans. I have a question. Can online investors entitled to apply for digital nomad visa? Can online investors entitled to apply? I don't understand the question, Thomas. Castropol is lovely. It is. Youngin says, is Ciudad del Rio walkable from Manila? Yes, it is. Absolutely. I've done it many, many times. I love to go to work at Pergamino, the cafe called Pergamino. Well, there's various cafes in Ciudad del Rio now because it's grown so much. There's a Pergamino that's really nice. It's got 2 floors. It's got great air conditioning there, by the way. And obviously it's Pergamino. If you know Pergamino, it's a great place to eat and have coffee and get work done. So you can work there. I like going there. So I'll walk all the way from Patio Bonito to Ciudad del Rio. And that's like a good 30-minute walk. But yeah, from Manila, it's like a 15-minute walk, maybe 20-minute. But what's the other part of that question? Maybe you can do a video. I like it. Yeah, so I have a video where I walked from Ciudad del Rio to Manila. I mean, I have so many videos, it's going to be hard to sift through them. But if you look at my Medellin Living Real Estate channel on YouTube, that's our YouTube channel for that company. I have a video where I do Ciudad del Rio walkthrough as well. You love the Pergamino in Ciudad del Rio? Yeah. I think Ciudad del Rio is one of the places that I would want to live in, for sure, if I didn't live in the neighborhood that I live in now. Time Machine says, when you were deported, was it extremely traumatic for you? Did your parents keep in touch with you by phone at least? Yeah, I mean, I would talk to my parents via phone. I had the Magic Jack, so I would call them. Obviously, we had Facebook, so I could do chat with them on Facebook. WhatsApp wasn't around back then. It was mostly just Facebook, like messaging on Facebook, which was great. It wasn't as traumatic for me for one main reason. my biggest trauma before then was I had been in jail for over a year when I was 22 years old. So when I was 22 years old, I actually went to jail, and I didn't get deported back then because ICE hadn't been created. That's why in 2010, when the judge says, oh, you've got traffic tickets and you rolled a stop sign and you owe over $4,000, you could do a weekend stint at the local jail, not county jail, where I knew county jail and I knew prison. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that standing on my head. I did more than a year locked up already, so I could do that easily. So that was my threshold of pain, being locked up for over a year in the United States, in Southern California, where it's very gang infested. So being deported was kind of a cakewalk, to be honest. It wasn't that hard. How about a video walking through from Barranquilla to Cartagena? It's like a 2-day video. Why did you go to jail the first time? It was meth related. So when I was 19 years old, I got involved in drugs. I was in a punk rock band. I played guitar and I sang, and I got involved in drugs, and I got caught with drugs on me one time when I was 22 years old. And that was like a wake-up call for me. Obviously, it wasn't big enough for me until because I did get deported in 2010. But I got deported in 2010 not because I did anything. I wasn't like a felon or a misdemeanor. It was just traffic tickets. But I didn't realize that ICE police had been created. I didn't know that. I should have probably known that because I should have. If I was an informed citizen, I would have known. But yeah. So yeah, I feel like I've lived multiple lifetimes, and now at 46 with a kid in Colombia with multiple businesses. This is my like 3rd or 4th lifetime that I'm living here. And as I age, I think I'll go through another phase of life and then a different lifetime. So yeah, it's like, I think you take the best of what you can from every situation, right? To do a follow-up, so would walk from Manila to Ciudad del Rio and you feel safe? Yeah, that's a very safe walk. Even in the evening. I mean, I wouldn't do it at like 3 in the morning. I don't know. I just don't want to walk around Medellin anywhere really at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. But I would feel like any time of the day, it's safe. Even in the evening, it's safe to walk from Ciudad del Rio to Manila because it's flat and it's very traversed. There's cars going through there. There's a bike lane, so people will be jogging and bike riding through that bike lane on that walk. So yeah, there's businesses that you'll hit between in the walk, which is nice. There's a really cool microbrewery called what's it called? I forget the name of it. Bipolar. In Spanish, it's called Bipolar. And yeah, that brewery is on the walk, so you could stop, have a beer. They have great little sandwiches there, or on the way back, you could do that. It's a cool walk. What was the name of your band? What was the name of my band? We went through a lot of names, but the one that was the funniest and the best was the Merkin-Wigs. I don't know if you know what a Merkin-Wig is, but back in the 19th, I don't know what century. I forget what century it was, but back in the day, it was very sexy to have pubic hair, a lot of pubic hair, to the point where there were companies that were selling, or companies or people that would create wigs for your nether regions. And those wigs were called Merkins. So we were called the Merkin wigs. One of the famous bands that we played with at one time, and I actually tried out as a singer for the band, was Project 86. They're a Christian band, but they rocked. They were good. Yeah, they were really good. They were better than we were, that was for sure. Yeah, if you look up Project 86, you'll see. Do you notice or have you heard from others of the locals being less friendly and nice to gringos compared to the past, i.e. gringo fatigue? I haven't seen that personally, and I hang out with mostly gringos, obviously, because we sell properties to gringos. We go into buildings every single day, or every other day at least, selling. So I haven't experienced it personally. I have seen people talk about it on Facebook, but I take that with a grain of salt because People say shit online, but then when they act in reality, they don't really act that way. For example, I have a TikTok now, and I get hate comments there telling me to go home. I get Colombians that will say "Gringo, go home" in the comments on TikTok to me, and I'm literally, bro, I'm Colombian and I am home. Where should I go? And then they're like, "Oh, you're gentrifying the city." But then in reality, when you go out in the street, nobody will ever say that to you, or say it to your face at least. So maybe there is a sentiment, but the only people saying it are the keyboard warriors. I think it's the same thing in the United States a lot. Although it seems like now more people are saying what they feel in the United States, but for the most part, most people are very cordial in public. And then when you get online, that's where all the hate comes out. So I think it's like that here too. With that, and same with politics. Like there's a division in politics here between the leftists and the conservatives, but in public, you'd never know. You would never know that until you go into some of these groups, like the local Colombian politic groups, or even the local Colombian groups where it's not even about politics. I'm part of like local Colombian employment groups on Facebook, and someone will put like a post about a job that they're looking to fill, or a position they're looking to fill, and there will be at least one or two comments they're telling, "Oh, this is Petro's future," or "This is Petro's," or the big one is whenever you see a video on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok about a crime, then it'll be like all political. It'll be like, "This is Fico's safety in Medellin," or "This is Petro's safety. He's over there making deals with the guerrillas, and people are getting robbed on the street, or cab drivers are getting robbed," or whatever it is. So I think that will always exist. Same with like the gringo go home stuff, from I guess the less fortunate people. And I say fortunate just for a lack of a better word, but you'll never see it in person. In terms of business in Colombia, how is it? I wanted to buy and improve a business in Colombia, but can stay there 24/7, but can't stay there 24/7. How would I deal with things such as thieves and bad people? Part 1. I think you have to live here for a while. You have to live here for a while, have a few employees that you can trust. But yeah, because remember, poverty levels here are very low. Compared to the United States. In the United States, regular poverty here is what we would consider extreme poverty in the United States. We're talking about like people living in dirt floors and shacks. So if you're making minimum wage as like a waiter, the incentive to take a little off the top is huge compared to being a waiter in the United States for where you're making tips and people tip well out there, etc. Here, it's a lot different. Obviously, waiters in the touristy areas that speak some English probably make way more money than the waiters of a mom and pop restaurant in a Estrato 3 neighborhood or an Estrato 2 neighborhood where they're making maybe less than minimum wage and working just for cash under the table, and none of it's reported. A lot of that goes on here. That's why a lot of people don't even pay taxes here, because a lot of it goes unreported. There's a big cash industry here. Where people pay employees in cash, and a lot of people work for cash, and they don't report it, so they don't have to comply with minimum wage requirements or tax requirements, right? So yeah, I think it's hard to do business in any country that you don't know the language or the culture in, if you're not going to be here. If you're here all the time, it could be very, very lucrative. For example, I have a few friends that have businesses here, that have retail businesses here, that have done very well. One of them is my favorite cafe of all time in the world, which is called Hija Mia. That's owned by a New Zealander, a Kiwi. And he worked very hard at the beginning for 6 years in a small little cafe where we would go work and we'd have our coffee. We loved it so much that we had an office in Barrio Manila, and we moved our office to the same building above. So all we had to do was walk down the stairs to have coffee at Hija Mia. That was before the pandemic. And then once the pandemic hit, we got rid of that office. But after 6 years, he got an investor to invest into his Hija Mia business, and he expanded, and now he has 5 different locations on the Golden Mile, 2 in Manila, 1 in Provenza. So yeah, they're doing very well, but it took him about like 12 to 13 years of hard work, and now he's reaping the rewards. And I can't think of a better person, a nicer person, a harder working person, a great father. He's got three daughters. He sacrificed, his wife sacrificed so much for that business that when he came up, now like for me, it makes me very happy that happened for him. So yeah, it can happen, but it's hard work, man. I think business anywhere, especially retail and service-based businesses, are hard anywhere you go in the world, let alone a country where you don't know the language or the culture. Sincere condolences to you and your family, says Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Today was my grandma's wake, and tomorrow's the funeral. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay myself. Some family members are not okay with the whole situation, obviously, because it's grandma. But for me, I'm okay with it. I said my goodbye in person to her literally the night before, just a few hours before she actually passed away. So I think that's part of life, right? Death is definitely the biggest part of life, and it feels like we kind of forget about it. And luckily for me, I've been able to kind of accept death, right? I don't fear it. I accept it. My biggest fears are on this planet, on Earth, right? My biggest fears are like not raising my kid well, not having enough money to raise him well, or to at least give him a good life as a kid, right? Or good education. He doesn't have to have the best education, but I'd like to give him a fair chance at life, like my parents did for me. So those are, I guess, my biggest fears. So yeah, things are going with my grandma and the other part of the family. But yeah, let's see. Any other questions in here? I don't really get why you always say that the tourism in Medellin is increased last year. I've been very often there, and last year you could barely see tourists. Also, I felt more dangerous than before. Wow, that's a good perspective. I haven't heard that from anybody yet. You're the first person to tell me that since, I mean, for a long time. Well, I just go by the stats. The immigration board here released the numbers, and it was 1.8 million people that came through immigration lines from other countries to Colombia. Not Colombians coming from other countries into Colombia because they don't have to go through immigration. So people from other countries coming into Medellin through the immigration line was 1.8 million. And that doesn't include the people that went through immigration in Bogota or in another city and then flew into Medellin without having to go through immigration in Medellin. So probably more than 1.8 million. So it was definitely a record-setting year. But I think maybe what you referred to as far as not seeing them around is because they've kind of spread out more. Before, it was just concentrated in Provenza and, Parque Lleras, but now since that has gotten a bad rep, there's like a stigma around the people that go to like Parque Lleras being like the passport bros or just looking to hook up with hookers, and also people discovering other parts of the city. You'll find people scattered around in it. You'll see some people going to Envigado, some people going to Laureles, some people going to Barrio Manila, different parts in the city. We've sold properties everywhere, and the least amount of properties that we've sold has been in that Provenza area. It's been everywhere else, or in El Poblado or in Laureles. So yeah, I think maybe that may answer that. But yeah, I don't know. Just read the paper, right? Read the stats, and you'll get your answer. I would love to have a holding company there and actually live and give good opportunities to the Colombians. Yeah, that's a noble cause. I think that it could definitely be done. Ches says, I don't think Escobar paid taxes. I don't think either. Youngin says, it's very personal. You don't have to answer if you wish. Manuela looks very nice and beautiful girl. Why not married? Was it an accident or you prefer being single? Well, the baby was definitely not planned. Very welcomed, and obviously his whole life has been planned now. But yeah, it was basically not a planned pregnancy. And I don't think there's any shame in that because I think most of us were unplanned. um, uh, but um, but the uh, but the reason I'm not with her is just because I'm not in love with her, and that's very personal. But again, I think the best way for me to grow is to share and be honest with people. But yeah, I don't have that there. Um, there is a love there, but it's not like a romantic love that I want to pursue for the rest of my life. That's like a big thing, the rest of your life. Um, and if it were just based on looks, yeah, I would have married her yesterday. But it's not just based on looks, right? Like I don't really, I care obviously about looks, but it's not like, that's not why I would marry someone and be with them for the rest of my life. But yeah, I hope that answers that. Chris, what's that? What's up, Chris? Well, oh, he's answering to Lex. 916, this is the safest I've felt in the past 5 years with all the cops everywhere, says 916. Yeah, for me, and I think I'm biased too, so take this with a grain of salt. For me, 2025 was the safest I've ever felt in the city, and it's continued to today, March in 2026, in my 16 years here, where I feel safe walking around with my expensive iPhone or my expensive DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and another the Insta Go S on my chest, on a gimbal, with my computer, with my laptop, with my Mac on my back, walking around the city and filming myself. I mean, I wouldn't have done that 5 years ago. I wouldn't have done that 10 years ago, and I definitely wouldn't have done that 16 years ago because I was brand new. But today I feel safer. But I say I'm biased because I have been here for 16 years. And I know exactly where I can go and do that and where I can't go and do that. I know the city pretty well. I've lived in 8 different neighborhoods. I've been here for a long time. So that adds to the safety factor. It's just like me knowing the city very well. What's up, WNT says, hi. Do you find it annoying that what appears to be true to me living in Colombia, that Colombians seem to be work large purchase mindset, meaning they'll work to buy a car, then quit the job? I actually haven't found that. I haven't had that experience, to be honest. I've had employees with me for the last 13 years. Some of the people that work for me still have been with me for 13 years, so I haven't experienced that. I never had an employee that worked for me enough to save up for something big and then leave and say, hey, I'm gone. I've had employees that outgrew me, for sure. Employees that were so good that they were chosen by another digital marketing company or programmer that was so great that they were just chosen by another company that could pay them more. And obviously I gave them my blessing. I said, yes, go for it. You make more money, go do it. So I haven't had that experience. Maybe you've had a different experience. Moda says, I'm living in Belén right now and I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, I love Belén. One of my favorite places in Belén obviously is Tres Cruces. I love that climb. But for like everyday life, I love the park. El Parque de Belén is just so full of life because you get everything there. You get like the retirees that are out there. You get the young kids that are coming from school, going to school. You get the parents with their little kid. You get the bums sometimes because there'll be like homeless people out there just drinking. So you get a little bit of everything, and that kind of encompasses what Colombia is as a whole, which is really interesting. What's up, Chris? Chris says, great to see you, Drew. Happy to join the broadcast. Everyone hit the like button. Oh, yeah, everybody hit the like button, guys, please. I haven't even hit it myself, actually. I'm going to hit it right now. Yusuf says, I respect the fact that you're willing to talk about it. The fact that you stepped up for the child matters. Oh, yeah, that would never be a question that I would not step up for the kid. I love the kid. I mean, I'm with the kid tonight. He stays with me tonight, and we go to swim class tomorrow. I'm with him every day. I love Lorenzo so much. It's like I never knew true love until I had him, and I'm like, I would die for him. There would be no question. It wouldn't even be like a second thought. That's like an instant thought. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be a dad. Dina Dina Louise says, I'm planning to move to Medellin, but looking for remote work. Any advice? Yeah. My biggest advice to people when they're looking for something to do online or remote work is to figure out what they're already good at and what they have an unfair advantage at. For me, I had the unfair advantage when I came to Colombia and I was deported and I had no job and I wasn't making any US dollars. The unfair advantage that I had was that I did take an HTML class in when was it? In 2020, it was like 2025 or 2026. 2016. I took an HTML class at a local community college. That was like my unfair advantage. When was this? It was when I was like 26 years old. Sorry, that's the number. So it had to be like 2005, 2006 or so, maybe 2007. But before I got deported, a few years before, I had taken an HTML class and I learned how to program. I was dangerous. I took HTML for beginners and I learned how to put a page up. So remember when MySpace, you'd have to put like code in to put up an image or whatever in MySpace? I knew that. I took a class that I knew what that meant and how to do it and then how to put it on a web page. So when WordPress came out, which was basically what you see is what you get type of platform for building websites. And if you knew a little bit of code, you could actually manipulate it a little bit better. I knew enough to be dangerous so that when I got here, that was my unfair advantage. I could contact businesses in the United States and say, hey, I'm building my portfolio. I never told them that, hey, I'm calling from Colombia. I would say, hey, I'm building my portfolio as a digital marketer and building websites. I can redo your website, or I see that you're a hairstylist in Dana Point or whatever. I can do your website for $300. My unfair advantage was not only that I knew how to make a website using WordPress at the time, but I also could undercut everybody, right? Because I was living in Colombia and $300 in 2010 a month went a long way. I mean, I think it still does go pretty much a long way, especially if you live in a lower income neighborhood. Your rent could be $300. Or if you're down here and you're roommating with people and you're sharing an apartment, $300 might just be your share in a nicer neighborhood in an apartment. So yeah, that was my unfair advantage. Obviously that I had to get a local job while doing that in order to support myself because not everybody said yes. I had to pitch thousands of people. I had to make thousands of cold calls. I had to send thousands of emails just to get like 3 or 4 consistent clients. And a lot of people won't do that. So my advice to you is find something where you have an unfair advantage at and see if you could do that online. And whatever it is that you know how to do or you have that unfair advantage because you're proficient at it, you could probably transfer it to something online. And there are many platforms where you can find that out, like Upwork.com, Freelancer.com, Guru.com. If you just Google freelancer platforms or freelancer job platforms, you can find a ton, and then just put in a keyword, make a profile, put in a keyword, and see what people are selling and what they're doing out there, and then you do it. Bet better. I don't know. There's a ton of stuff that you could do as long as you just maybe think outside of the box. King said he hit the like button. Thank you, King. Extrite says, hi, Andrew. Lately, I'm seeing slow travel and immigration expat YouTubers dropping Colombia from their recommended countries. What are your thoughts on this, if any? I don't know about that because I don't follow any of those people. They're probably discovering they're probably doing what a lot of travelers do, is discover other cities, other countries. I mean, I think Colombia is a trend right now, and will it continue to be a trend? Probably, and Medellin was a trend. I think many people are being priced out of Medellin, especially people that are lower income. They're going to be looking for other cities in Colombia. So I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for example, me, Medellin will be my hub, but my dream, my goal is to be able to travel around with my kid once he grows up in a couple of years. I'm talking about like maybe once he's like 6 or 7, once he's actually able to like like perceive the world as we travel, is to travel around and vlog it and make videos about our experience. One of my biggest dreams is to own either a Sprinter van or some sort of 4x4 truck, like that's modded and kitted out, where I could travel from Colombia all the way to Argentina and hit up every city, every major city, go watch a soccer match with him, go camping sometimes, staying in Airbnbs or hotels at times, staying in cities for long extended or periods of time while he's homeschooled or maybe on his vacation time. But yeah, I mean, so I will change eventually. I think that's probably what's happening to other people. Jamie, what's up, Jamie? Thank you so much for the $1.99 dono. Thanks. I appreciate it. Jamie says, love watching your vids. Have you thought about doing more activities to show the things Medellin has to offer, like go-karts under Santa Fe Mall, hiking, tennis, golfing? Yeah, I will definitely be doing that more this year. Well, I can't promise that because I have these businesses that I'm building right now. Like the Medellin Living Real Estate Company is kind of like taking off. Same with the Medellin Masterclass. So that's my priority, is making content for that. And same with nomadspanishmedellin.com. So I'm kind of confined to like an area here. But I do want to join the country club because I want to get back into playing golf. I haven't played golf in like 20 years. So I'll probably be doing that either this month or next month. And then I will be showing that experience. Like, hey, I'm in the country club and this is what it's like. Here's a round of golf. This is what country life is, or country club life is here. I'm going through the marriage visa process now, as well as another American who is married to a Colombian. The hoops are frustrating. Oh, to jump through? Yeah. Yeah, that's just the beginning, brother. Joanne says, hi, I'm Colombian and recently back in Bogota after living in the U.S. Though not deported, I relate too much what you've shared. Your videos motivate me. Thanks and keep it up. Greetings from Bogota. Hey, I'll be in Bogota in the middle of this month for a Stereo Picnic. I'm going to go watch the Deftones. Yeah, maybe the Killers as well. They're playing on 2 different nights, but I think I'm just going to go for one night, and the Deftones outweigh the Killers for me. Youngin says, does San Lucas have a big grocery store you can go by walking? Yeah, San Lucas is kind of a big area, but yeah, there's a big grocery store there. If you live near it, you can walk to it. I was there, felt safe, but couldn't find much shops around. Yeah, there's the San Lucas Plaza. Did you go there? San Lucas Plaza? Angel says, is it expensive to own and maintain a car in Medellin? Yeah, I think it is. I think buying a new car or just buying a car here is more expensive than the United States, which is kind of a plus if you look at it this way. If you buy a car here, it's going to hold its value better than if you buy a car and have it for a long time in the U.S. Here, some cars don't lose much value, over the years. So yeah, I mean, you could buy a 2010 Ford Escape here for it'll be like $5,000 to $8,000. Where in the United States, that car would be like $2,000. That's if it passes the smog check. So yeah, it could definitely hold its value, but it's going to be more expensive to get into it. Maintenance and stuff is usually cheap. I mean, because unless if you go directly with the dealer, that will be more expensive. So yeah, owning a car here is a luxury. That's why a lot of people own the smaller cars, because they're less expensive, easier to maintain, less of a burden. What's up? Jose says, hi, we love your video content. Learned a lot from our first upcoming visit. For our first upcoming visit, would you recommend SmartFit for digital nomads? We'll stay for 3 meses. Yes, SmartFit's great because you could just pay month to month. You don't have to get into like a complicated contract or anything. You could pay month to month. So I love SmartFit also because you could there's many of them across the city. So if you want to discover a different neighborhood, you could go by, Uber, you could go by the metro, you could take a cab, you can walk to a SmartFit, explore the area, get your workout in, and then go back home. I do that very often. I love it. Thomas says, Andrew, I have some online investments and I'm receiving monthly returns. through them, so I was wondering if I can apply for the digital nomad visa as a result of the monthly returns. I think you could, but you should probably talk to a professional. Check out nexo.legal. I'll put it in the chat here. Nexo.legal. That's the website. Instead of .com, it's .legal. There are lawyers here that can help you figure that part out, at least give you better answers than I could. But my initial thought is yes. Andrew, buy a Twingo. I don't even think I could fit in a Twingo, let alone fit Lorenzo in my home. My Lorenzo's growing like a freaking weed, bro. He's like, yeah, but most people think he's 3 years old. And he's only like a year and a half old. He's a giant. Hopefully he will be the first Colombian in the NBA. Okay, so let's get to the questions, and then I'm going to put these into ChatGPT. You can answer along with me. It's kind of fun to do. So the first question here is, what actually makes a good life for you? What makes a good life for you? What would make a good life for you? So for me, what makes a good life is peace, purpose, trusted people around me, and pride in how I live. For me, that means a quiet apartment, enough money to support my family, work I care about, time with my son. Daily movement is very important to me. Doing some sort of exercise, whether it's just walking or going to the gym, playing basketball with, when I take the kid out there, maybe taking some shots, and eventually a small finca where I can enjoy nature and slower living. So that's like a big goal for me in life, is to have a finca, like a country home. That's what we call a country home here. I wouldn't live there permanently, at least not now, at my age right now, especially with the work that I do. I wouldn't live there now because you'd have to live like at least, 45 minutes or more out of the city. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to live there permanently. I don't want country life permanently. But I would love to have a country home where I have my apartment here, I've got my businesses here, and then every other weekend or holiday weekends, go with the family and spend the weekend in a small town, in a finca, where I have like a garden, I have maybe fruit and vegetables there, I have maybe at least dogs, but maybe some animals, maybe chickens or something, have someone that lives on it, kind of like they call it here a mayordomo, someone that tends to your property when you're not there. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And maybe as I grow older, I would live there permanently. But right now at 46 years old, I wouldn't want to be there permanently, but I do want that. So what about you? What actually makes a good life for you? For me, it's peace, purpose, trusted people, and pride in how I live. That's the biggest one. Yeah, let me know what would make a good life for you. In broad perspectives, you don't have to go into detail. For me, it's like peace, having peace. And that means like not having toxic people in my life, not having chaos in my life, having a purpose in life. Like, what am I doing this for? Obviously, I have a kid, so that's a big purpose for me as well. But beyond my kid, because eventually he's going to grow, I obviously have to have a purpose for my life. I like having trusted people around me. Like, I like to have a lot of friends, but like my nucleus or my core friends, I love having those trusted people with me. And like being able to have pride in what I do is big for me too. Is like being able to share this with people and share it with pride and be like, look, this is what we're building, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Chaz says a finca would be ideal for him. Yeah, I love that. I love the country living. Chris says, Dina only recommended as a foreigner in Poblado unless Spanish is your first language. Yeah, I mean, Dina, you could pretty much live in any neighborhood here as a foreigner as long as it's an Estrato 5 and above. You would have the NBA League Pass and chill in your finca and play guitar. See, maybe when I get old, I will do that. But right now, that I would die of boredom. Like, that would bore the heck out of me if I lived like that. But I get it because I could see myself growing into that. So, okay, so that's question number one. Here's question number two. Let me go here. Question number two. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I'm just going to paste it in here. So question number 2 is, what kind of environment brings out the best in you? What kind of environment brings out the best in you? My answer for this is a productive, walkable city brings out my creativity, business drive, and focus. The countryside brings out my calm and helps me recover. It seems to do the best. I seem to do the best with like both, right? So I love the city because it brings out the creativity in me. It brings out focus, drive. But then I also like the countryside or more mellow atmosphere because it helps me recover, right? There's more calm, more peace, more or I guess more time to think with myself, right? So that's question number 2. That's my answer. What environment do you like the most? What about you guys? Do you like the city environment, or would you prefer like a countryside environment? And it's funny because I think a lot of people would say the city because you want to come to Medellin, but maybe not. I have the same goals as you. Your accountant Gabby is helping me get a nonprofit started to help orphanages in Colombia. Nice, T-Mac. Awesome. Yeah, so for me, I love the city, but I think my life would be very whole if I could share my time in both the city and countryside. Okay, so the next question is here. The next question is, what kind of lifestyle am I actually trying to build? What type of lifestyle are you trying to build? Wait, Chris says I've been the type to be in the city Monday to Friday, being productive and high paced. Finca Saturday and Sunday to breathe and clean. The clean air and unwind. I think that's a good point there. I love the city, but would rather live in the outskirts, says DJ Banny. Yeah, so like, I think I would grow into that, or I'm gonna grow into that, DJ Banny. So I definitely relate to that, where I love the city, and I've been here for 16 years. So I think as I get older, I will grow into wanting to be in the outskirts, not too far from the city though. So for question number 3, what kind of lifestyle am I actually trying to build? My answer to that is a hybrid lifestyle. I want stimulation and peace, convenience and space, community and some solitude, novelty and stability. I want to build in the city and recharge outside of it, kind of like what Chris was talking about there. Like during the week, grind mode, building mode, driven mode to do stuff. And then weekends would be like unwind. But it's hard for me to unwind, especially nowadays. But maybe I could get there. So I think I want to get to the point where I have that hybrid lifestyle where it's like, okay, I do this part-time and then I do this other part-time as well. And maybe not just limit it to like Monday through Friday, Chris, but maybe ideally I would be like, okay, it's whatever day it is. I feel like going to the countryside. Let's pack up and go for a couple days. And it doesn't matter what day it is. That would be ideal. Maybe I'll get there and I'll work towards that. But starting with the weekend would be great. Okay, so question number 4. I'm going to put these into the ChatGPT with the prompt after this. So we'll see what ChatGPT says. Okay, so this next question is here. Okay, question number 4. What kind of... this is a big question right here. Let me make this a little bigger here. Question number 4 is, what kind of people am I done tolerating? This was a big question. What kind of people am I done tolerating? What type of people are you done tolerating? Are you done? And for me, this is my answer. I'm done tolerating self-centered, arrogant, needy, negative, and chaotic people. I value peace, consistency, character, and people who challenge me, support me, and help me grow. And that goes for even family. And I'll kind of go through this answer a little bit. So self-centered, I'd said self-centered because before, when I was younger, even just a few years ago, when I didn't have much, I accepted people that were self-centered and arrogant into my life because I viewed it, because a lot of those people were successful, or at least they had more money than I did at that point. So I saw it as a character trait that would resembled, or was aligned with success. So I had people in my life that were my friends, that were maybe my mentors at one time, that were arrogant and self-centered. But now I don't need to tolerate that, and it makes me uncomfortable. When I'm around a person that's like arrogant or self-centered, I feel uncomfortable, and I'm at the point where I'm 46 years old now, and I will tell you straight up and say, wow, you're very self-centered. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I've done it before, and I will do it again if it ever happens. Luckily, I don't meet many people like that because I don't surround myself in those type of circles anymore. And the people that I do surround myself with are not like that, but it will happen every now and then where I have to just say something and be like, this is a horrible conversation. I don't want to continue this. And I feel like being that honest, even if that person hates me at the moment for saying that and calling them out in public, I feel better. And and it's not like I'm hating on them, in a harsh way. I just subtly and softly say, this is not a conversation that I want to be in, and your personality is not what I like, or someone that I want to continue having a conversation with. So see ya. So I'm done tolerating with that now in my life. Needy, I'm done tolerating people that are needy, both psychologically needy and emotionally. I don't do well with those type of people that are very needy. People that are jealous, that's a huge red flag for me. If someone is very needy or codependent going into a relationship, whether it's just a friendship or an actual romantic relationship, I don't do well with that because I like more independent people. And I feel like a lot of Colombian females are very needy emotionally, psychologically, and they also have a lot of unresolved trauma. And I mean, that could go for a lot of people around the world, but I've found that to be the case. I have had girlfriends that were not like that and that were awesome, and it was me, not them, that couldn't go on with the relationship, like most of the relationships I have. But yeah, I'm done dealing with anybody that's blatantly needy, both emotionally or economically, like people that just want to take advantage of me. I don't deal with that anymore. I've had people contact me for the channel asking me if I could do them the favor of interviewing them and putting their business on the channel. And while I've done that for many people, I don't do it for the people that come at me the wrong way. I don't like that. Someone that says like, oh, since you're doing content, I'm going to give you free food. I'm like, motherfucker, you're going to get at least 2,000 people to see this video, and you're going to make probably well over at least $1,000 if I put you on a video. And you're telling me that you're not going to charge me because, not that I expect free food, but that's not the way to phrase it, right? It's like, oh, okay, thank you. And I don't tell them. I'm just like, all right, thank you. I'll let you know if I could fit you into the schedule, and then I'll never fit it into the schedule. So it's like I'm doing them a favor it's like they're doing me a favor by giving me free food. I'm like, I just want to make the content and help your business out. You don't have to put it that way, right? So I don't deal with needy people. I definitely don't deal with negative people anymore. And I think Colombia attracts a lot of negative expats. I think it's because of two reasons. One, it is getting more expensive, so people are getting priced out, so they become more negative because of that, and maybe a little bit bitter. And on top of that, the reason why they're in Colombia is because maybe they're running away from something in the United States, so they're already here with a bitter attitude, and obviously it just carries over. Then on top of that, it's hard to integrate into the culture if you don't learn the language, if you haven't been here for a long time, so it's easy to be negative and bitter. So I definitely don't tolerate that in my life. So yeah, that's definitely something that this was a big question for me to answer. The money needy is just so draining. I mean, I think it's both. Both are draining. If someone's emotionally, psychologically needy, I think it could just be just as draining as the money draining. Well, at least with the person that's needy with money, you could just cut them off and say, no, I don't have any more money for you, but we could still be friends. And then maybe they could become a good friend and never ask you for money anymore. But someone that's emotionally needy and has like emotional baggage and trauma, that's harder to cut off. Typically, you just have to cut that person off completely and never associate with them anymore, which sucks. Chaz says, question 3. Echo you. I need progress and development, novelty to keep me engaged. Yeah, novelty, that's a good word. I was looking for a word that would help me encompass what I need in my environment. And novelty is one of them. Like basically like spontaneity. Like being able to walk down the street and there's a new building coming up, a new cafe over here. There's a parade going on next week on the same street, or what, like, oh, there's a bazaar this week. So things that are consistently changing, like that happen in the city, new businesses coming, novelty is very big for me. So I appreciate that part of your answer to keep you engaged. I also need some privacy and solitude for peace and self-reflection. I'm a social butterfly, but I also hate people. I'm a social butterfly, but I also hate people. That's perfect. That could be like a song lyric. 916 says, I told my friend she was self-centered. Here, I'll put this back while I read these. I told a friend she was self-centered, and she thanks me to this day that I called her out on her BS because nobody else had or was as real as I was. I've found that too. When you're honest with someone in private, you don't have to do it in public in front of other people, but if you have like a heart to heart and say, hey, this is not cool. I think people appreciate that. I know I have. Like if someone calls me out on something, I'll come back and appreciate them for calling me out. Because I think that's the only way to grow and to help somebody else grow. And if they're not mature enough to take the constructive criticism, then that's on them, right? Time Machine says, did you ever hold out hope for meeting your future queen, or are you okay with being a freelancer the rest of your life? I love that, freelancer. No, I do believe in love, and I do believe in eternal love. I'm a hopeless romantic since I was a kid. I was in a band. I mean, it was a rock band or punk rock. I mean, a quasi punk rock band in late 90s, early 2000s. But I wrote the lyrics, and I am a hopeless romantic, and I was when I was a kid. That has dwindled a bit, and I've hardened as I've gotten older, but I still hold out for that person that will just like make me, like what my dad used to say, oh, just wait, someone's going to have you head over heels, and you're going to change. And I'm 46, and he stopped saying that a while ago. But yeah, I still hold out for that. I still believe that it can happen. Otherwise, it would suck to live. I don't know if it would suck to live, but for me, it would not be fun to live just thinking that I'm just going to be forever alone. I think at some point I'll settle down, hopefully, and find that one person. And that word settle down is very important because it means that you have to like settle, right? Which is huge. And we'll get to that because that's one of the answers and one of the questions here. We need a Messiah house reality, apparently. Jose says, is there still an opportunity to start a digital marketing agency for Medellin businesses? I think there's definitely an opportunity. Will you make a ton of money out of it? No, I don't think. I mean, unless if you are very niche oriented for specific type of businesses maybe where they can pay a lot of money. But if it's just like for mom and pop shops and stuff, you're going to have to niche it down. Maybe the problem is that when you go niche here, like for example, hotels, they already have like their cousin's son that went to digital marketing school and he has a camera. So he does all their digital marketing and he's the one getting paid and they keep it in the family. That's the way people do business out here, unfortunately. So it's hard to break in. But once you're in, you're in. You're making the big bucks. But yeah, I think you have to go through some suffering at the beginning. 916 says, if you want to know who your real friends are in Medellin, tell them no. If they still want to be your friend, you're good. That's good. That's a good one, 916. Okay, so the next question is, question number 5 is this. Right here, question number 5. Question number 5. There it is. Okay, there's my answer. Okay, so question number 5 is, what has money fixed and what has it not fixed? What has money fixed and what has it not fixed? This was a pretty deep question for me to answer because money removed stress around my basic needs. Where I used to stress over when I first got deported or when I first arrived here, deported and no money. I was under constant stress of, being able to pay rent for the room that I was renting in the apartment that I was renting. I was basically living month to month for a couple of years. So that was stress, around my basic needs, just being able to make the rent and then being able to feed myself. And that was it. And it was stressful because I could only pay for that stuff while in my head, I knew that I had to build more so that I can help my parents who were aging, so that I can make something of myself, so I can help others as well. So in my head, I was under the stress of like, oh, I can barely make rent. How am I going to be able to help my aging parents when they don't really have a retirement in place? You know what I mean? So that was like big stress for me. It gave me options, but it did not. This is what it didn't fix for me: self-doubt or my love life, as we've already talked about. So having money has definitely didn't fix my self-doubt, which I've worked on now where I don't have the self-doubt that I did before. But when I started making money, I still had those psychological traumas I hadn't worked through. This was like 2016 to 2020. Then once the pandemic hit, I started work on myself. I think a lot of us did because we were alone with ourselves for a long time, especially here in Colombia. So I started work on myself and removed some of these traumas and some of these character defects that I had. And obviously my love life, having money has not fixed that because I'm still not married. I've never really truly been in love. My longest relationship in my life has been 6 months. So money doesn't really change that for you, I don't think, and it didn't for me. I was chasing relief more than wealth back in the day. Money matters, but it's still just a tool. And I've used that tool to work on myself and obviously help others. But yeah, what about you? What has money not fixed, or what has it fixed for you, and what has it not fixed right now? I know a lot of you probably want to answer that because it could get deep, but it's a good question to ponder, right? Time Machine says, do you think mixed family and business is okay, or what are your thoughts on that? i.e. hiring family members. I think it's good if you're a good boss. Like, I've become a good boss. I've seen it backfire because the person doing the hiring, the owner of the company, is a terrible boss. I'm very good at delegating. I'm very good at being honest and direct with people. And I'm very good at inspiring, I think. Inspiring people to work and to do things. And I'm getting better. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I think I'm good at that. And maybe bringing the best out of people to a certain point. So I have hired my family. My brother works with me. My dad works with me. Manuela, who is the mother of my child, works with me. My cousin, Alejandro, works with me. And they all do a great job. They're amazing. And without them, I would have nothing. or I would have very little compared to what we do have all together and what we're going to have in the future as we build. But I think it comes down to you. Don't point the finger at them. And with the people that you can't work with, just don't hire them. I know the people in my family that I can't work with. I can't work with my mom. I can't work with my sister. And they're not part of my businesses. And I know that, and they know that. We've made it very apparent, very, very, very literal. And I don't think they would want to work with me, and I don't want to work with them. So we know, like, it just wouldn't work. Our personalities would clash. It just won't work. But there are other personalities where it works flawlessly. So yeah, I think that could answer your question. DJ Banny says, my day-to-day, it has fixed your day-to-day. I agree with that. Same here. And then also he says, not my anxiety. Oh, anxiety is a big one, man. Yeah, anxiety is a big one. DJ Banny, I don't know how much you know about Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, he would journal every day in the morning. And there's a book, thousands of years old. The most powerful person probably in human history was Marcus Aurelius. He's emperor of Rome, bro. 50 million people, emperor. And he would write down his thoughts every morning, journaling. And there's a book called Meditations. There's various interpretations of it, but there's like the top bestseller one on Amazon is the one that I have. It'll change your life. If anxiety is one of your things, imagine you're the emperor of the most powerful thing in human history, which was Rome in its time, and you were the most powerful person because you led it, yet you had to deal with anxiety. So there's a chapter in there about anxiety. I think it'll help. And there's YouTube videos. If you just type in Marcus Aurelius anxiety in YouTube, that helps, because I suffered from anxiety as well. I know it's a horrible feeling. I didn't know mental health until so because of the pandemic, I got anxiety, and it just came as a wave, uncontrollable. That's when I started to work on myself and work things out. With a what do you call it? With a therapist, working on myself, reading self-help books, working with multiple therapists that I have had since then. But it's because I didn't know mental health, so I couldn't even empathize with someone that had a mental health issue, because my whole life, even though I had been to prison when I was 22 years old, I had been deported from the country when I was 28 years old, I never dealt with depression. It never affected me, like, to the point where it was uncontrollable, until the pandemic hit and I had a business and all of our clients said, we have to stop paying you. And I got this wave of anxiety where even my hands would tingle. I became deficient in a couple of vitamins in my body. I went to the doctor, went to the therapist, had to deal with it. And Marcus Aurelius's book, or his passages in his journal, called Meditations, definitely helped. I highly recommend anybody to read that. And it's not just for anxiety, it's for a lot of aspects of life. I've heard you talk about him before. Thanks for this. Thanks. No problem, DJ. I only know him from the Gladiator movie. Yeah. If you think that's cool, wait until you actually learn. And the book, his journal is basically that, a journal. It's not like a book that you read like a novel. It's like almost like a textbook that if you buy the right book, you can help. It could help interpret it. Marcus Aurelius is all right. There's much better. Oh yeah, there's definitely much better. Definitely much better studies. That's a good introductory, I think, into that. And it's a different way to look at anxiety, or look at anxiety through the eyes of another person in a different time, which was pretty interesting. So yeah, but you're absolutely right, Luckier. There's better people. And I wouldn't say that Marcus Aurelius is just all right. I mean, you must not know about him if you're just saying he's all right. Buying assets allowed me to have time with loved ones and not have to work a W-2, says 916. Live in Medellin and allowed me to stop and smell the roses and enjoy the fruits of my labor. That's a big one. It allowed me to stop and smell the roses and enjoy the fruits of my labor. Interesting. So it allowed you to slow down and really look at the smaller things, or appreciate the smaller things in life. I think money does that. I mean, I think money could do two things for you, right? Or I guess many things, but for some people, getting a lot of money sometimes will make them look past the smaller things because they want something bigger and better and more extravagant. And then for others like yourself, it allows you to slow down and really appreciate the smaller things. That's interesting. I guess you could say for being broke is the same thing, because if you're broke, you have no time to dwell on the small and finer thing, or the smaller things in life. When you're broke, you're just wanting to make more money, so you go past a meadow of dandelions and not even care and be like, I don't care about that because I have no time to care, right? So that makes sense. Okay. And so you're going to end up reading Russell Crowe's journal. Money has fixed my comfort and stability, says Reggie. It has not fixed my search for the right wife to start a family with. Yes, I definitely can resonate. That resonates with me for sure, because it's been definitely the same situation with me. Definitely same situation. Okay, question number 6. We're almost done here. Is this one right here. Question number 6 is, what responsibilities changed me the most? What responsibilities have changed you the most? For me, it's been supporting myself. And I say supporting myself because in the United States, I had to support myself. But when I got deported and got to Colombia, I had to support myself in a developing country that I had no record of. I never remembered living here because I was 4 years old when we left. So I didn't know I knew the culture enough to know the language. I knew the language because I was fluent in Spanish, but I didn't know the culture in depth. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life out here. So the responsibility of supporting myself in this country when I first got here definitely changed my life. Thinking about helping my aging parents has changed my life as well. Has changed me the most. It's not just me anymore. Even before I had the baby, it wasn't just me. It was my parents. I realized that. I'm the oldest child. My parents are aging, so I realized that, okay, that's a responsibility. And then when I started the business and I had employees, having employees, that responsibility changed me as well, because now it's not just me and my family, it's my employees as well and their families. And of course, fatherhood changed me, has changed me a lot. Responsibility made me think longer term and take other people's well-being more seriously. Ask chat, what responsibility changed you the most? For me, those have been the biggest responsibilities that have changed me. Question number 7. We'll fly through these so that we can get to the end here before 8 o'clock, or 8 o'clock here. We've got 10 minutes. Question 7 is, which mistakes cost me the most? Which mistakes cost me the most? Chasing too many new ideas instead of going deeper on one thing, letting ego push me towards recognition I didn't really need, avoiding hard truths instead of facing them early. So those were the mistakes that cost me the most. Chasing too many ideas. As an early entrepreneur, as a younger entrepreneur, I would not, if something didn't work out in a few months, I would just bounce to another thing. Instead of sticking with one thing for a long time and trying to get good at just one thing, I would bounce around. Like, okay, I could do digital marketing for you. I could do digital marketing for you. I could do SEO for you. I could build a website here. I can try to help with a logo over there. Just anything to make money. Instead of really becoming good at one thing, that cost me money because if I would have just honed in on one thing and been good at just one thing, I would have been able to charge more and got more clients just for that niche in the beginning. But I guess you don't really learn that until you make a bunch of mistakes. And then letting my ego push me around or push me towards recognition. I felt like when I was younger, I needed to be recognized for the things that I did. Like, so I was the person that built this. I did this. Now, in this day and age, I don't even care. Like, for example, building Medellin Living. I don't care that I'm not the face and the head of Medellin Living. I'd rather have my friend AK, who's really good at it, make the bulk of the money, lead that team, and be the one that reaps the benefits. Because in turn, I will make more money, but it also helps him grow. And as a friend and as a business partner, I want that for him. Same with Nomad Spanish, nomadspanishmedellin.com. I'm not even in those videos. If you go to the Nomad Spanish Medellin YouTube channel, I will never be in one of the videos, but I'm behind the scenes now. I don't need the spotlight anymore. I just need it to work. So I've maybe matured from that. Same with avoiding hard truths instead of facing them early. When I was younger, it was hard for me to look at my defects, my character defects, and tackle them. I would ignore them. I would just grind through them, and they cost me money in the end. When I was younger, I always had excuses. Taking ownership feels a lot better. Yeah, me too. I think all of us, when you're young, excuses come easy. So for me, I had excuses, right? Like I don't want to do this, or I can't do this because of this, that, and the other. When you say business partner, is it 50-50 setup, or how does that work? Yeah, it's 50-50 setups. Yeah, becoming a father changed me the most, says Chris. Prior to that, my life was 100% about experiences and discovering. After that, it became about stability and providing. Now that my kids are grown, though, it's probably a little different. The next goal is to become a man-child. Question 7, same as Andrew, not having a sharper focus on fewer things. I was a jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, that's a good quote there, actually. Being self-reflective isn't easy. It isn't. That's why I'm doing this in public, because it's not easy. It's not easy, but we're doing it right now, and it's going to make, at least it's going to make me feel better at the end of the day, and hopefully you too. But I can only control my own feelings and my own thoughts. Okay, unfortunately, I would love to be able to control you. Okay, question 8. What do I value now that I used to ignore before? What do you value now that you used to ignore before? Now I used to ignore all this, by the way. I value peace now. I used to like chaos. I lived in downtown Medellin, the most chaotic place to live in, and I loved it and I thrived in it. I didn't care about peace. I loved chaos and sensory overload. I was young. I wanted to be in the thick of it. So now I value peace. I love peace. I love the building that I live in and the condo complex that I live in, because it's so peaceful. It's so quiet. Even though I'm in Poblado and I'm like about a 20, 30-minute walk from Provenza, where all of the nightlife is. Here, it's completely quiet. I can sleep with the windows open every single day. Never have trouble sleeping here, or even just going out with my kid to play. Usually there's like maybe 1 or 2 other kids playing there. Usually there's none. On the jungle gym, in the pool, etc. I love that. Love the peace. My health. When I was younger, I didn't even have health care. Now, health is like very big. It's one of my main purposes in life, is to keep my body healthy. I think it was Epictetus that said that we treat our bodies rigorously so that it won't disobey in the future. Meaning that we train our bodies, we keep healthy by eating well, doing exercise, even if it's just moderate, even if it's just walking, some strength training maybe, balance training, function training, so that as we age, our body doesn't disobey our brain. I love that quote by Epictetus. I think I butchered it, but you get the gist. So definitely health. My routine. Before, I never had a routine. I would just work whenever I wanted to work, whenever I felt like it and get things done. Now I have a routine, and my routine involves every single day in the morning, I write the 3 things that I have to do that day. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's just 3 tasks that I have to do every single day. And I put a little check mark by them, and then I get to work. And by the end of the day, I better have checked all 3 of them. And obviously today, doing this live video was the 3rd one on my notebook, and I will check that off. But before, I never had a routine. I never had this thing called discipline. Discipline is not a thing. I think it's more of a routine. If you have a routine, all you got to do is show up to that routine and good things will follow. And that's been kind of like a secret to my secret sauce. Journaling has been big. I just started something that I've been putting off for years because I'm scared to do it. I don't want to journal, but now I'm journaling because I think it's important to reflect on our days, reflect on our thoughts. And if you do become a member of the channel, of this channel, if you become a member of the channel, those journals will be videos that I'm going to be making. It's going to be a video journal that I'm just going to hold as a private video. It's not going to be public for everybody. It's going to be private, but members will have access to them where I will reflect on things that happen in my life here in Medellin, how I've handled them, what I've struggled with. So it goes deeper than just like the surface level videos that I make for the channel. So if you do become a member of that, you'll have access to that. And I will do a live once we have enough members, a live with just the members to go through these things together, kind of like what I'm doing right now, which is very niche. I won't get hundreds of people watching me do this. And I knew this coming into this video or coming into this live, but I wanted to show those that are really interested in this type of content what my members only content is going to be like. And it's going to be very similar to this. And we'll probably do like live events where I'll have guests on, which could be yourself if you sign up for them. And we'll just talk about this stuff. I don't know. For me, I find it fascinating. Another thing that I didn't care about before that I do care about now and I value is meditation. Real people, not just fake people, people that are just superficial. And being at peace with myself. Things that once looked boring now look powerful to me. Do you have a personal chef who cooks your meals? If so, what kind of food? My cleaning lady is also a chef. She's a cook. She cooks. So I'll have her cook. I'm not a fancy person by any means. I think we've kind of figured that out by watching my channel or my lives. I love rice, beans, and protein. Salads. I love salads. Fruit. Have her chop up the fruit. I do love to cook for myself, so most of the things that I have her do is just prep so that when I get here, all I have to do is cook the food. But yeah, for me, it's very basic, especially since I like to go to the gym. It's like rice, protein, some grains, healthy fats, fruit. That's what I do. Okay, the next question is, we're going to do 10 questions. This is question number 9. Question number 9 is, what do I care less about now that I used to care about before? This one's very similar to the last one, just the opposite. I don't care about impressing people anymore. I don't care about looking important to people anymore. I don't care about random attention or vying for views on my channel. Otherwise, I would just be going up and down parqueaderas, videoing hookers if I wanted to get max amount of views, or going downtown, going to the sketchy areas. I don't care about that. I have more of a mission or a purpose in my life with this channel. And I don't care about other people's opinions, where before I couldn't tolerate it, or I would get angry at what people would say about me or say to me, or their opinions about certain things that I didn't agree on. Now I feel like I'm much more flexible because I just don't care, because I know that I can't control them. No matter what I do or what I say, I can't control what you think and say, or think and say about me. So I've learned to just not care about that anymore and just do my thing. That's why I'm doing this video right now, this live, the way that I'm doing it, because I just don't care anymore. What I care about is personal growth, business growth, and meeting people that are like-minded. And hopefully if you are like-minded, I can meet you when you're down here in Medellin. I care more now about what I can control, which is my thoughts and my own actions. Yeah, you don't care about opinions. Yes, I agree with that. At what age did your deep awareness of your own mortality come to you? When it really hit? So I think I've always had that in the back of my mind, especially since when I was a teenager. I was kind of like I was a loner as a teenager in high school. Even though I played for the basketball team, I played for the volleyball team. I hung out with some of the jocks, but lunchtime I was eating alone with one other friend maybe. That was it. I was a loner, and a lot of the time I spent in the library playing either chess or just reading books, and that's where I found philosophy and where I found comfort in books on philosophy and theology, and or just interesting reads. I'm definitely more of a a non-fiction fan than a fiction fan. So I found comfort in that as a kid in high school. So I think in high school as a teenager, I started to think about death and not about. There was a time when I didn't like myself so much that I considered, like, what would it be like if I were just gone? And then I realized that there were books about this stuff, and that helped a lot, like my development and my appreciation for life, and for the others around me, right? And time as a whole. I didn't take advantage of it until I got deported. So luckily I had that base. And then when I got deported, all of it hit, and I'm like, fuck, like life can change in an instant. And it has. So now I have to put everything that I've thought about before into practice. All of this stuff has to go into practice, and I've been doing it, and I'm not perfect, but I try to incorporate something into my life almost every day now, where I reflect on life or death, right? And that's why I've started journaling, and why I'm going to be doing the video journal on the channel now, because it forces me to every day in the morning go to my favorite park down the street, video myself, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and reflect. Owners don't need approval of others. See, I was a loner and I was artistic. I played the guitar. I wrote poetry. I wrote songs. I'm a pretty good artist as well, but I sought approval. Like once I found it, I'm like, oh, this feels good. Like now I know what the popular kids felt like in high school when I got to become a young adult and got, made more friends and stuff like that. So I sought approval because it felt good. And then I realized as I got older that it's not that important. Okay, question number 10. Here's number 10. Question number 10 is, what have I learned about human nature? This is a big one. What I've learned, my perception, because this is, everybody will be different. I've learned that people respond to incentives. This is a big one. People respond to incentives. And a lot of the time, so when I was younger, I thought that people, their motivation to work for me would be money, giving them money. But that's not true. People's motivation, they want money, and money is somewhat of an incentive, but a bigger incentive is giving them purpose and responsibility. If you give someone purpose and responsibility and recognition, and obviously compensate them at the same time, that's 100 times better than just paying someone to do something that you'll never look at, or that you won't really interact with them about, or that is meaningless, like data entry or something like that. If you give them a mission, a purpose, recognition, and obviously monetary compensation, I think those are the biggest incentives. And some will say that responsibility or just purpose is the biggest incentive of all. There was a study done where in a company, they gave half of the managers more money, and then the other half more responsibility, more people to take care of, more systems to develop, and more things to build on in the company. And they found that the managers that made more money were stagnant. And some of them just didn't even do a good job at all, but they were making more money. Where the people that didn't get more money, but got more responsibility, more people in charge of, more responsibility within the company for growth, innovation, they did tenfold the amount of work that the other people did. There's a grain of truth to that, I guess, that you could take home. Human nature is about we FM, what's in it for me? Oh, I got you. What's in it for me? Yeah. The biggest in with new people is being able to make them laugh. I'm still sitting here in Provenza alone and I'm chilling and happy. Yeah. Oh, I love sitting in Provenza alone. It's such a great place to people watch. I love people watching. Such a great place to people watch for sure. Okay. Let me see. Is that the last question? Oh no, sorry. There's 2 more questions, which are probably the most important questions of all. And we'll get through these and then put them in the ChatGPT and see what it pops out. Okay, question 11. What role does discipline really play in my life? What role does discipline play in your life? Do you consider yourself a disciplined person? I consider myself disciplined. I wasn't before, but I consider myself disciplined now. For me, discipline is everything. It keeps my business going, my routine and progress stable, my health. It keeps my health great, my physical form, I guess my shape. It helps me not lose track of that. I rely less on motivation now, and more on systems. There's a really good quote that says by Seneca, I believe. No, not Seneca. Who is a famous painter, Chuck Close. Chuck Close once said something to the likes of, motivation is for amateurs. Professionals sit down and get to work, which means that you can't manipulate motivation or inspiration. You can't just get inspired. And he was a painter, a famous painter, Chuck Close. And he said he was the guy that used to use pictures of other celebrities or of himself to make like a giant portrait of himself, like mini pictures. That was Chuck Close. So he said that motivation is for amateurs. For real professionals, you just sit down and get to work, because that's where the motivation will come, or that's where the inspiration will come, is through this routine. Just showing up is half the battle. Didn't John Wooden said that, right? One day he said that showing up is half the battle. The rest will take care of itself. So sometimes just getting there is good enough. And then you'll, as long as you've got some sort of system in place that you follow every day, you don't need to be motivated. You just need to know what to do that morning to get started and then get going, right? So yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I've realized at 46 now. My biggest shift has been focusing on a few important tasks instead of trying to do everything. As I've said, part of my discipline relies on me doing 3 things in the day that is going to move the needle. I don't need to be writing emails if it's not going to move the needle. I don't need to be doing other things that are not going to be moving the needle. The things that I can do that can move the needle is content creation, talking to a client that is ready to go, something like that where, okay, this will move the needle in one of the businesses, or working with someone in the business to get the needle moving. So those have been like the roles of discipline in my life. Realist says, Andrew, I have a family and I really don't want to meet new friends. Am I crazy or just old? No, I don't think you're crazy, man. I think you're doing what I think any father would do, is just focus on your family. I'm not about meeting new friends either. Now that I have my kid too, I don't really care to meet new friends. I do meet new friends just because of the nature of what I do for a living, to seek new friends, or going to sweat and chill on a rooftop, which does happen. It looks cool, but it's just not me anymore. It's not what I want to do. I don't want to go to a cafe at 11 to go party and dance, because that's what they're doing nowadays, I guess. The sober parties in the day, on a Saturday. Those look cool and the pictures look cool on Instagram and stuff, but I'd rather spend Saturday at the pool with my kid. That got to be honest. I mean, that's more fun for me. And if there's another dad out there with his kid, yeah, I'll make friends with him. Question. Okay, last question. Drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll track, so I'm prepared. Okay. Question number 12, last question. What am I still trying to understand in life? My answer is this. My love life, I'm still trying to understand that. And long-term relationships. Like I said before, my longest relationship in my life has been like 6 months. Never really felt like in love with someone that I would be like, oh, I want to die with this person. I've never felt that, so I'm still trying to understand that. I do understand that a healthy relationship needs compromise and understanding of your partner. So I understand that as like a core of a relationship, like of a romantic relationship of love, is being able to understand the other person and compromise with the other person. I just don't want to do that. I haven't found someone that I've wanted to do that with, to compromise my freedom, the way that I do things, my routine. I've done it for my son. So I guess I could retract my statement or my point there. I have found that in my son, where I have shifted my whole life and routine around my kid, but I haven't found a woman that I would do that for, if that makes sense. I don't know if anybody could relate to that, but it just hasn't happened. Or maybe if you're a woman watching this, have you found a man where you could compromise with them and be like, okay, I'm willing to change my life a little bit or maybe a lot for this person? It hasn't happened to me. I understand that that's what needs to happen in a healthy relationship, but I haven't done it. I'm still trying to figure out how to live that well in real life. So I'm trying to figure out that part of my life. But it's hard. I think it's hard for me because it's something that I've been alone for so long, not alone, but just not in a relationship for so long, that to find that and see it, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. So I don't know. Help me out, guys. Yeah. Caesar, you're awesome. Caesar says you don't need friends because you got us. That's true. I got you guys. I appreciate you guys. What am I still trying to understand? What to do with the second half of my life? That's a tough one, brother. I think we're all trying to figure that out. I think we're all trying to figure those questions out. Okay, so I'm going to put this prompt into ChatGPT, and here's the prompt. If you want to see it, it's in the description below. Let me see, where's my ChatGPT? Oh, I don't have it open. ChatGPT. Okay, so here's the prompt. The prompt goes like this. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty long and elaborate, but you want to put this into ChatGPT along with your answers so that you get a pretty accurate, or not accurate, but an in-depth answer. But the gist of it is that you're a lifestyle geographer. By the way, that's a job. Some people are lifestyle geographers. I didn't know this till I researched this. You are a lifestyle geographer with decades of experience helping people figure out where in the world they are most likely to thrive. I'm doing a live self-audit on my Medellin focused channel to figure out what my answers to 12 deep life questions reveal about my values, blind spots, contradictions, life philosophy, and whether Medellin actually fits in my life. And then it goes on and on. As you can see in the description, you can read the whole prompt. So I'm going to put my answers in ChatGPT, these 12 answers here. Let me copy paste them all. Okay. Copying up until 12. There it is. And we'll do extended thinking. I do pay for the ChatGPT service, I guess, so it'll give us an extended thought. Okay. Okay, so it's thinking. While it's thinking, let's see. What are you guys saying? What am I still trying to understand? Oh, I'm still trying to fully understand human nature and why we do what we do. Yeah, that's one for the ages, Reggie. I think many people in throughout history have had their whole life tied up with that question. Bismarck says, "Hey Andrew, loved your Airbnb. We will be booking again and thank your dad for the proactivity." Oh, no problem, Bismarck. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for staying in our Airbnb. Awesome. I hope to see you when you are back here. I hope to meet you. I didn't get a chance to meet you in person this time. Okay, so it's still thinking. I'll give you the answer. I'll share my screen, I guess, once I get the answer from ChatGPT here so you guys can see. But it's still thinking. Yeah, so let me know what you guys thought about this. I'm not going to be doing a ton of these type of lives where it's more introspective because I know that the gist of the channel or the theme of the channel is Medellin and life in Medellin. People want to know what life is like here, etc. What are the pros? What are the cons? But let me know what you guys thought about this type of video. If you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments. I'm very active in the comments. Let me know what you thought. And if you do like them a lot, I would consider becoming a member of the channel because those videos that I do make on this topic will be private videos for members only. If there's a lot of interest, maybe I'll make some of them public. But yeah. Reggie says, ChatGPT told me that Barranquilla, Pereira, and Bucaramanga would be better options. Nice. Yeah, those cities are great. I've been to both Barranquilla and Pereira. I haven't been to Bucaramanga, but from what I've seen, I think I would like it too. Okay, so here's what ChatGPT says. Oh my gosh, this is kind of a long answer. Holy cow. Okay, I'm going to tell it once it's done. It's not even done answering. Okay, well, maybe I can speed read through this. Let me share my screen here. I'll delete this part. And I'll put the screen on this other side. Let's see. Display capture. Okay. Save. Okay, so here's my screen. Okay, so I don't want to have that there. Okay, so this is what ChatGPT said. I'll just go to the Medellin part, I guess. So the beginning is, what keeps repeating is you keep coming back to the same four things: peace, structure, trusted people, and useful work. Oh wait, I totally removed myself from here. Sorry, hold on. Put myself in frame here. Okay, so at least I'm there. Okay. Okay, so what keeps coming back is four things: peace, structure, trusted people, and useful work. What that matters more than all of the surface stuff. You're not really chasing excitement. You're chasing a life that feels clean. Clean head, clean relationships, clean work, clean home base. You also keep describing dual need. City for output, countryside for recovery. Okay. What these answers actually say about you. You're now a pure adventurer. You're not a pure adventurer anymore. You're not a drifter. You're not even mainly a freedom guy now. You're a builder. Okay. You're not a builder in a flashy sense, more like building enough orders so life stops leaking energy. That's why peace shows up so much. Systems show up. Chaotic people are now intolerable. Why random attention and looking important lost value. Why fatherhood and responsibility changed so much. Your answers describe a man who got tired of waste of time, energy, emotion, talent. Your contradictions. The biggest one is simple. You say discipline is everything, but your own answers say your real problem was not discipline, it was misdirection. Okay. You lost more from scattered focus, ego. Okay, so it was reading what I did before. I get it. Hard truths than from laziness. Okay. That means the danger in your life is probably not falling apart. It's building the wrong thing efficiently. Okay, I would agree with that. Okay. Contradiction number 2 is You say you care less about attention and recognition now, but you still mention ego and recognition as costly mistakes. Ooh, that's deep. Wow. Okay, that's deep because I did mention that. That usually means the hunger for external validation is weaker, but not dead. That's true. I do have a YouTube channel, I guess, for all intents and purposes. So, agreed. It still sneaks in through business, image, status, being the guy or providing something. Ooh, being a provider is big for me too. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that ego, I mean, is that bad? I don't know. I got to go deeper into this. How many contradictions do I have? You say a productive city brings out the best, but your definition of a good life ends at a small finca, nature, slower living, and a time with your son. So the city is not the end goal. It's the machine room. That's the biggest difference. Okay. Your blind spots. Your biggest blind spot is that you still may be overestimating how long you should live inside a high stimulation environment just because you know how to use it well. That's true. I can agree with that. I'm overestimating how long I could live in Medellin just because I know it so well and I'm able to get the most out of it. Being good in a city is not the same as being best there long term. You can thrive in stimulation and still quietly pay for it with nervous system friction, social noise, shallow interactions, and relationship instability. Okay. Another blind spot. You say money is a tool, which is true, but in your case, money also seems to function as a buffer against chaos, which is true because I pay more than most locals would pay just to live in the neighborhood that I live in and in the condo complex that I live in. So yeah, it's not only a tool, but it's also a buffer against chaos. That's not greed, that's control. Okay, yes, I do like to be in control a lot. You want enough money so bad dynamics don't trap you. Yes, that means environment matters more for you than you may admit because the wrong place creates the exact chaos you're trying to buy your way out of. Okay, I understand. The last blind spot is that you say your unresolved area is love and long-term relationship, but under that is a bigger issue. Tell me about it. How to stay peaceful without becoming closed off, and how to stay open without inviting chaos. Oh shit. Who needs a therapist when you've got ChatGPT? I'm going to read that again for me. But under that is a bigger issue. How to stay peaceful without being closed off, and how to stay open without inviting chaos. All right, so now I have something to journal about tomorrow and reflect on. I got to copy that and I'll paste it later, but I've got it copied. That's the real tension. Okay, I've got to dig deeper. The deeper question underneath all 12, it's not what city do I like most? It's what environment lets me stay sharp, calm, useful, and selective without constantly fighting off noise. That's the real question your answers are asking. The kind of person these answers describe, a late stage optimizer, someone who has already learned the novelty is overrated, chaos is expensive, and being admired is not the same as being at peace. Okay, so we've read these. We've already know these. The life philosophy these answers point to. A good life is not maximum pleasure. It's not maximum status. It's not maximum freedom. For you, a good life is order, useful, peaceful, selective, and rooted. That's the philosophy, not the geography. Order, useful, peaceful, selective, and rooted. Okay, that's another thing I should copy down. Put it over here. Okay, I guess I could come back and do that. Does Medellin fit? Yes, but not as the whole answer. Medellin fits your builder phase very well. Its official transport system is integrated across metro, cable, tram, and buses. The climate stays mild year-round. The city has unusually direct access to green and rural areas. The city's own tourism and government sources highlight the green corridor networks. Say 71% of Medellin's territory is rural and point to nearby rural townships like San Cristobal and San Sebastián de Palmitas as places where urban life and rural life meet. Okay, that said, your own answers do not sound like a man whose final form is full-time city guy in Medellin. They sound like a man who uses the city well, but who increasingly wants distance from noise, volatility, ego games, and socially draining people. So here's the blunt verdict. Medellin is a fit for part of your life, not all of it. More exactly, it fits a base of operations, as a base of operations, but not as a complete emotional blueprint of your life you described. Best fit model for you is a hybrid city and countryside setup. Okay. Medellin plus a nearby finca. Okay, so there's a lot here. But, oh, here's some examples. You sound better suited for a mid-sized walkable green city with easy nature access and lower social chaos. A few real examples. Valencia, Spain. Porto, Portugal. Malaga, Spain. Cuenca, Ecuador. Okay, so this is the closest one I can go discover is Cuenca in Ecuador. So I have to discover Bucaramanga first. I know Pereira, and I know I don't want to live in Pereira, but I want to discover Bucaramanga. And then maybe I'll go to Cuenca, Ecuador. My blunt conclusion, if I read your answers as evidence, not branding, then this is the call. You are not trying to build a louder life. You're trying to build a more grounded one. Okay. All right. So that settles it. I got to go to Ecuador. Interesting. I like it. I got to read into this more, but this is a good start. Yeah, ChatGPT is deep sometimes. It just depends on how you prompt it. Andy, do you work with clients that want to buy a VIS property? A VIS property. What was that? I know I just learned what a VIS property was. Oh, no, we do not. Vivienda de interés social. Oh, yes, VIS property is just a residential unit, right? A residential property. Unless if it's a pre-construction deal, we don't do pre-construction deals. But yes, VIS property, I guess we would, and we have. How come you said you pay more to live in the same neighborhood compared to locals? No, I pay more than most locals would. Obviously, my whole neighborhood is locals, but not all locals could pay to live in this neighborhood because it's a more higher income level neighborhood. That's what I meant. So yes, I'm paying for the exclusivity and the quiet and the good HOA, the manicured greenery in my neighborhood, etc. But you pay for it. I paid $850 a month for my 3-bedroom apartment, where in a lower income neighborhood, it would be maybe $500 or $550 or maybe $600, etc. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. For those of you guys that stuck into the end, I highly appreciate you guys. If you couldn't because of other responsibilities, I completely understand. I just love the fact that you guys tuned in for something that is so out of context from the other lives that I've done, where this is more introspective, more philosophical, more analytical to my life and maybe even to your life. I hope to see you guys in the next live, which will be next Friday, and that one will be Medellin centric. But I will talk to you guys then, and I will see you tomorrow in tomorrow's video. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you later. Have a good one.